Good afternoon. Good evening. Good night. You know what I mean. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me here tonight. I'm just making sure that I have audio on my other screen. Give me one sec. Okay, so looks like we're good on LinkedIn. How do I turn these comments off? Okay. All right. So thank you so much for joining me on Sunday night. If you are watching the replay back, thank you so much for tuning in, learning more about BAI Group, our digital therapist test, and our co-intelligence framework, and also the case certification. I appreciate the engagement, and feel free to DM me, comment if you have questions. Email us at engage@baigroup.ai. And yeah, so I am Brittany Austin, the founder and chief innovation officer here at BAI Group. We are a human systems company, and we help enterprises, teams, organizations modernize safely and responsibly with artificial intelligence. We do that through a myriad of different ways. We do it through direct engagement, consulting, contracts and agreements within organizations and enterprises. The second way we do it is through co-intelligent education and training, which is, you've probably seen the Case Foundation certification being advertised for about the last month or so. We're getting ready to start that cohort September 22nd. And the third way we do that is through direct one-on-one engagement and dialogue with humans in our regular everyday lives. And that is how we like to say, this is how we are being with AI, or this is how we be AI. Grammar's kind of wonky, but you get the drift. So tonight, I want to walk you guys through our proprietary framework, which is called co-intelligence. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling up my website. Okay. Did I do it right? Sharing this tab. I'm just looking to see if it shared properly. I am still learning StreamYard, everybody. Still learning StreamYard. Sorry, I'll get better as time goes on. All right. I think we're here though. So co-intelligence AI is not just a slogan that you probably hear me use a lot, or that you probably hear us say. It is the only way, in our opinion, to ensure an ethical, safe, and responsible future within artificial intelligence. And hold on 1 second. I am, again, working to get my screens right. Sorry. Okay, so I have notes everywhere, and I have like 3 screens up, so yeah. Okay. Is it still on? Yes. Okay, perfect. All right. So as I was saying, co-intelligence is the only way to achieve a safe and responsible and ensure a reliable future within and around artificial intelligence, according to BAI Group, me and my partners and those I work with. So we have really worked to operationalize the co-intelligence AI framework so that it is both ethos and execution, right? You can't have the discipline without the belief. You can't have just the belief without the actual discipline to make it all happen pragmatically and tangibly. And I will say that, in my opinion, a lot of companies kind of miss this part in the rush to just throw out AI tools and systems, and everybody's just rushing to be, a big content creator around AI and artificial intelligence. But when you really step back and you really think about what it will take for AI to be able to scale safely, accurately, securely, at the enterprise level, within your day-to-day life, and also at the national security level, at the global security level, right? Because you think about, we have to be able to trust the AI tools and systems that the companies are developing. It's not all just LLMs, right? So if we talk about putting them in our organizations and using them for security purposes at scale around the world, and also for innovating and moving business forward, we have to be able to trust the outputs. And right now, we are currently, with the mainstream AI tools and systems that are out there, it is our belief that we are not currently at the level, or not even close to being at a level to which we can actually trust AI safely, and we can accurately trust the outputs. Not only that, we are seeing an increase in harm, self-harm, and just harm in general from, being the harm that's being, let me start over. We're seeing an increase in incidences of harm that are being attributed back to the mainstream LLMs that the users are reporting. And that is of increasingly concern to me, because I am the mom of a 3-year-old. And I just find it sad, I guess, the gap at which the general public kind of knows and thinks about AI, and where, leaders of our country are talking about, where we want to take AI, and the conversations that are being had about how to scale AI. So I decided to do something about it. I founded BAI Group, but more specifically, I wrote and architected a certification course that I initially piloted back in the spring in partnership with another organization. And since then, I've come up with and written the co-intelligence framework, and decided to, put out another cohort, which is now what you see on the screen, the Case Foundation's Certified AI Strategy and Ethical Implementation certification course. That is starting on September 22nd. So throughout the Case Foundations course, you will learn, or participants will learn, how to use our Q matrix. So it's the co-intelligence Q matrix and our digital therapist test. And the goal is to really teach participants how to turn our ethos, which is co-intelligence or co-intelligent AI, into an auditable behavior, so that your agents that you want to use, that you build, and that you want to implement in different environments, know when to pause, when to escalate, and when to defer. And you leave with the path to actually ship this inside of your organization or inside of another organization that you're going to be contracting with in the future. So, all right, just quickly want to point out that our early bird price ends tonight at midnight, after which time the price will increase to $4,500 for individuals, and then teams will always be able to get the early bird price of $3,800 for enrolling participants of 3 or more at a time. If you are interested in enrolling a team or a group of people, please either when you visit the website, you can see a couple buttons here: request team enrollment invoice up at the top right. You'll also see request team invoice, at various areas on the site here. So you can click these buttons, send us an email, you can DM me personally on LinkedIn. You can send me an email at engage@baigroup.ai. All right, so the promise is to build co-intelligent AI so that the agents continue to or establish and continue to earn trust over time. So the outcomes include our Q matrix, our DTT passing agent, and our executive deck, and audit ready artifacts. And you'll also be able to get, or participants will also be able to get 20 to 24 continuing education hours. The start date for the course is September 22nd through, it's 10 nights through October 7th. And we want to cap the capacity around 25. We might take a little bit more than that, but as of right now, it's 25. And so, yeah, the problem here that we want to solve is that AI chaos in organizations and in government stems from a lack of trust. Also, a lack of education around what AI is, how to use, how to build AI tools, and then how to integrate them and embed them in a safe and systematic way into the back end of an organization, so that it's not just layering more chaotic tools that don't work on top of an already fractured infrastructure. And so we say a lot of the time AI rollouts rarely fail because of the models or because of technology. They fail because of governance drift, fragmented tools, and then low trust amongst the workforce that the tools are designed to support. And so the tools accelerate the output, but they amplify chaos without context, consent, or without true owners. And then this leads to people, burning out, like the workforce burning out, honestly. And with the increased burnout and the distrust and the dissatisfaction of your workforce and your employees, that can lead to, and oftentimes does lead to, reputational risk, right? You suffer greatly with reputational risk, but you also suffer pragmatically, right, with high dollar compliance risks and lawsuits. So this is a real problem that organizations, all organizations honestly should want to solve if they're not already. And I think like some organizations will say, oh, well, we're not at the point yet where we're ready to actually incorporate AI into our day-to-day. But that is irresponsible, in my opinion, because we are already here. The data shows that 9 times out of 10, the average workforce, without any type of guidelines around AI or restrictions that come from the top of their organizations, they're already using LLMs daily, within their jobs. They're using it and they don't have any guidance, as to tell them or to follow for, how to be using these tools and systems. And so as the tools get smarter and they are more, innovative over time, people can do more with the tools that may not necessarily be to the benefit of the business. So just provide an actual example. OpenAI, ChatGPT, recently came out with agent mode. Agent mode is supposed to be able to allow agents to perform tasks directly on behalf of the user autonomously. So if you take, for example, having the agent book a flight for you. So in enterprise, this looks like an executive assistant trying to cut down the time, he or she has 1,000,001 different tasks to do to prepare for a high-risk board meeting or something that's coming up. And she is looking for any type of help really to alleviate all of the task work that she has to do. So she's asking the agent, right, to in OpenAI, in ChatGPT, to book a flight for her executive. She needs to provide her executive with a bunch of different secure, confidential information. And she, she's not a developer. She doesn't have the knowledge, to really understand that there's no real guardrails or no real gates around the parameters in the scope of which that agent will be able to kind of infiltrate and touch within her own environment, but also within her, with outside of her company's native environment. So the agent has to go to like a Delta website to book a flight. The agent has to, disseminate the executive's confidential information to several different systems and platforms. Who is tracking the agent as it's, moving from site to site, spreading the different information around, right? We assume, or that assistant rather, would probably just assume that, oh, OpenAI put this capability out. It shouldn't harm me, right? So we assume that the agent is going to go book the flight, but there's nothing tracking whether or not there's like a bug in the system, on the Delta site, on the back end that can make the agent hallucinate or just kind of throw off like the data patterns that is, working to propel the agents to act autonomously. And then the agent might see something that might confuse it, right? And it might put the executive's confidential information somewhere that shouldn't have access to that confidential information. And again, that is not something that would be flagged in the, assistant's enterprise native environment. And so we believe, right, that by building, taking a more co-intelligent approach to building, developing, and then deploying these tools and systems within enterprises and organizations from the very beginning is the key here. Because if the mainstream AI tools and systems won't do it for us by developing more co-intelligent, ethical, responsible tools, and then you ask them about it and they're kind of not taking any accountability. I think Sam Altman kind of threw his hands up and was like, hey, we can't be responsible for what happens when you deploy agent mode. If we can't trust them to put guidelines and guardrails around the usage of the tools at the very least, then I just, we all believe that we shouldn't be trusting them to build, or build the agents ethically and responsibly, which we already know they're not, but we shouldn't be trusting, the ungated use without restrictions within enterprise environments. And so BAI Group, in addition to the co-intelligent build of the agents, we also work with the organization that we are implementing the new agents into to develop a safer, more secure system at which to deploy and, training the employees that are actually going to use it. So digital dignity and psychosensory fluency, psychosensory contextual fluency are non-negotiable in our opinion. So how do you fix this? You build in a auditable spine, right? So you have risk tiers, we have consent gates. We also teach our participants in the case certification how to evaluate before scaling. We give them model cards and we also give them incidence logs. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself in my notes because I'm not, here we are. Okay. Yes. So we believe in this saying that you ship the discipline and the ethos, and then the trust follows. So let's talk a little bit about what you actually build with us within 10 nights. Okay, so After 10 nights with us, you will leave with tangible, tangible, auditable assets. So you will build your own co-intelligent agent that is instrumented to pass our digital therapist test, also known as our DTT. And the agent will know when to pause, escalate, and defer. You'll also leave with an executive pitch deck and a one-pager to win approvals. Part of this is training our case strategist on how to speak confidently to the tools and the systems that we are training them on within the co-intelligence AI framework. And so you should be able to leave, not should, you will be able to leave and you'll be able to pitch your solution that you will build in the course. And the reason I call it a solution, right, is because it's not just a one prong tool or a one prong concept that you'll build, right? It's an all inclusive, holistic treetop solution that includes, yes, the tool, which is the agent that you'll build with us over these 10 nights, but it also includes the pitch deck and the one pager, which includes the messaging that you really need to confidently speak to the full system. And then it also includes an actual system, right? Like you'll develop a co-intelligent mindset around making a system that is holistic and inclusive of the existing tech that is already, operationalized within a certain company. It also includes workflows. You have to think about how workflows work when you're instrumenting and architecting solutions in this way. You have to think about processes, and then also you have to put a plan in place for continued training and check-ins and regular audits and reviews of not just the employees and workforce at large, but also leadership team and executives. It's key there as well. So we provide our case strategists with a roadmap for how to navigate that entire landscape from a business perspective. It's not just all about building the agent. The artifacts that you leave with include a context packet, which we'll be able to tell, every time you build an agent, what it's equipped to do, like what its ability and capability as far as its contextual fluency is. You'll leave with a consequence map, which, outlines before we even get started with the build, what happens when the agent does not perform or pass a benchmark that it's supposed to. You'll also be building out your own risk tiering matrix, which just goes by our risk tiering matrix. And then you'll also leave with a reasoned trace and a model card, and then a decision ledger. And I believe I'm covering those assets a little bit later, but I will try to show an example if it's not too long. I'm not trying to keep the live too long, but you'll also have 20 to 24 hours of continued education hours that you can report to various boards, your employer, if your employer is refunding or paying for the certification. And then also, I think what is a key differentiator with the course that you'll leave with is having an established relationship with not only myself as your main instructor, but other expert instructors that we will bring in over time. And so having kind of that mentorship ability, from the course with your instructors over time is going to be key as we move forward in operationalizing artificial intelligence at large, because the science and the technology is so new. I am, along with my identified co-instructors, we're all in the field right now, every day, architecting solutions, working with real enterprises, real agencies, and pitching to the government in government conversations, at least for myself, during the day, right? And then we will be coming to spend 3 hours or so, at night with you to talk about the insights that we're actually learning, right? And we're actually seeing, and we're in the work that we're actually touching in the field. So I think that having that up close and personal, direct one-on-one interaction and group engagement as well is going to be pivotal for all of us to build a co-intelligent, AI community as we move forward. Okay, so how do we turn values into behavior? We do that through building the Q matrix. I had a note specifically about the Q matrix. Okay, well, here it is. So anyway, our Q matrix is just our build methodology, right? So the core idea of our Q matrix is we go from ethos to execution to evidence. And along the lines of our matrix, we teach you the risk tiers and consent gates that happen at each different level of our Q matrix. We show you how the evaluation checkpoints, we show you how to build in evaluation checkpoints, and then also how to craft DTT hooks live within the build. So the outputs that you'll be practicing nightly on will be the reason trace and the model cards that are the outputs of our Q matrix. And you'll get practice with our, reason trace and model cards, as well as our DTT. But you'll also have the opportunity to build your own version of our Q matrix, DTT, and our reason trace and model cards as a part of the solution that you will be putting together and actively building. And then at the end, pitching to other business stakeholders towards the end of our course. So just wanted to throw that out. Now, the key milestone that we demand from all of the agents before we implement them at scale is our passing our digital therapist test. And so I've said a couple times, the agents will know when to pause, when to escalate, and when to defer. And then also the what and the why, right? Because this is critical and this is important. Before we look to incorporate any type of AI tool or system into an organization, we check to see if it knows when to pause, right? So when there's uncertainty or when there's potential harm detected, the AI agent should be flagging us and they should be telling us. The agent should know when to escalate, which is when to hand off to the right human role with the context. And that is all defined in the logs and the assets that we build before we even start. And then the agent should know when to defer, right? When to respectfully decline the action, and then recognize when it's outside the scope and the consent that was agreed upon before we built the agent in the first place. And then know when to hand it over to its human user. And this matters specifically because this is how you build the trust and prevent silent failures. And then this is how you align with modern governance expectations. And so we want to ground the agent and the developed tools in co-intelligent AI, in digital dignity from the very start, and not have to work from the back end, which is what you see happening now in the mainstream AI tools and systems. They're now having to, backtrack and try to go and fix, the harm that was done from the time they started. And so we want to prevent or mitigate as much harm on the front end as possible before we even ship or deploy an AI system. So okay, next. I already talked about this, what you'll build. Okay, let's just go over our night by night curriculum. Okay, so our night flows, or our syllabus, our curriculum flows really by principle, and then risk tiering, psychosensory contextual fluency, consequence mapping, panel of models, security patterns, agent wiring, digital therapist, test, trace, model cards, test, and then demo. Okay, so let me just go back and kind of summarize each one. Night one, right, is called Foundations in Co-Intelligent AI. The outflow of this night, well, even before, let me just start over. So the certification course is set up nightly in two parts, right? So you have your instruction part, which is the first couple of hours, and then you have your lab on the end of the night, which is where you'll tangibly be building. So the instruction, we have modules that we go over. We teach you the foundations of artificial intelligence, what it is, how it works, how the machines learn, where we've been, and where we currently are present day, and then where we believe things are going in the future. So we do teach you that theory. And then the second half of the class, though, is where our hands-on practical application comes in the labs. So night one is Foundations in Co-Intelligent AIs, history of AI, different models, how it works, everything I just said. And then the focus of the lab for this night is our co-intelligent AI principles. Night two is our Q matrix, right? And our risk tiers. So we have 5 different risk tier levels, and we take you through that in depth. We show you how we apply that in our builds, and we give you the behind the scenes of what we're developing, and then show you pragmatically how the risk tiers apply for all of our tools. And then in the lab, you will be mapping out your own tiers for risk. Night 3 is a focus on psychosensory contextual fluency. This is really meaning how emotionally intelligent your agent is. That is a concept that we developed out of a research prompt, or out of a prompt research study that was conducted over about 4 years. If you're interested in that study, I can link the white paper. Just let me know. But night 3 is a focus on the psychosensory contextual fluency. And in the lab, you'll learn what it is in discussion, in instruction. And then for the lab, you will be focusing on defining what does psychosensory contextual fluency look like for your solution, for your agent, what type of level is required to make it successful, and justify your reasonings for the different PSCF levels that we attach to it. So night 4 is consequence mapping and harm budgets. You will focus and learn about what these are, and then in lab, you will be building your own consequence mapping. And then night 5 is panel of models, and then the disagreement by design. You'll see examples of how agents are developed using these modes, using these training modes, and then you'll also learn, well, you'll learn what they are first. Then you'll see pragmatic examples of how to train agents in these types of designs. And then in the lab, you'll have the chance to write out your own security patterns, and also design your own panel of models, training sprints that you may or may not want to put your own agent through within this course, but also, like, you know, in the future for your future builds. Night 6 is security by default patterns. And so you'll learn what that is, really focus on fallbacks and what it says, security patterns. And that will be the key outputs that you have in your labs. So if this seems like it'll go really fast, it will, but some of the nights, right, like, it will just depend on how fast our participants, you know, move. So we will allot time to kind of, you know, flex between each of these planned lab nights, you know, as necessary. And again, it's live. We're, you know, instructors are right here with you in the room every single night in our course environment. So we have up close and personal knowledge of where you are, within your learning, within your knowledge. So if we need to pause, exactly what we say, right? Our agents are capable of doing, which is pausing, checking and redirecting. Like, we will do that with you in real time. It will be agile, collaborative, so you never feel like you're behind. And again, because you have direct access to us, if you ever have questions or anything, like, you will always have the opportunity to ask us questions. Okay, so night 7, I believe we were on, is the agent build and DTT hooks. So this is where you'll actually be starting the process to build your agent and account for your digital therapist test hooks. And then night 8 is you're continuing to build on from night 7. And then night 8, you will continue just to, build on those assets that are required for the co-intelligent output and the Q matrix. So night 8 is focused on reason trace and model cards. Night 9 is where we ideally want to be at the testing phase. So it's like 2 full nights-ish of building the agent. And then night 9 will be testing. However, anyone that has ever built anything knows that, like, you're kind of testing, along the way in an agile style approach. I'm a PMP as well, and many of my co-instructors are PMPs. So if I am referencing, agile sprints, development, that's why. Project manager over here. So night 7, 8, and 9 are building and testing, one and the same. And then night 9 is also where we'll start to incorporate rehearsals for your executive pitch that you will be doing on the final night. And also you'll be doing some table reading as well, depending on your digital therapist test outline. Okay, and then night 10 is when we are going to be bringing in an actual review board of enterprise and business owners, other government stakeholders that I am in contact with now, trying to lock them down for night 10. But it will be a board of actual business owners that are operating within either the government space, but for sure the software development, AI development, technology space. And it will be a mix of different career lengths. So I specifically am aiming for an equal mix of, career lengths between like 10 to 20 years, and then like 10 or 15 to 20 years, and then 20 years and above, right, in leadership roles, because I want to get all of our participants' feedback from a different perspective according to different leaders, right? So leaders that have been in their exec roles, leading teams for over 20 plus years, they are going to have a different perspective on innovating with artificial intelligence and new technology in general, which is going to be very valuable, right, as you start to get feedback and test out your solutions on our market, which is, our final demo and review board night. But the goal is to get you used to and accustomed to having to answer questions about your solutions that you architect and that you build, right? I think that just building an agent, it can teach you, how to build, but if you don't have the confidence and the skill, the knowledge to talk to the solutions, to think from a problem solver's perspective in terms of how successful the implementation can be, depending on the different contingencies that are already at play within an organization, then what good is the build in the first place? And so I really want to provide a little bit of a challenge, some scaffolding during your demos and your pitch nights, so that you can have kind of that experience if you haven't had that before. In my first cohort, my students found that overwhelmingly successful, and I actually just heard from one of them the other day who pitched their solution that they actually crafted and brainstormed in the course this past spring to TikTok. And I think they've already pitched a couple months ago, if I'm not mistaken, to BetterHelp. So yeah, they said that was having the actual pitch experience, was incredibly helpful for them post course. So, all right. Here's a little bit about me, and I'll actually just go over my bio a little bit. So I am the creator of Co-Intelligent AI framework, and then the creator of our Q Matrix and also our digital therapist test. I just wanted to point out this little line here. So I worked with a different organization in the spring, as I said, to partner for my pilot AI course. That organization is called the Vets Group. They are located here in DC. They're an established training institution that has been around for a little bit. But I worked with them to architect their AI program for their curriculum and their, forgot what you call it, their catalog. Sorry, mine's on a million different things these days. But I was the lead AI architect of their AI program catalog, which is approved by the District of Columbia, HELC. I forgot what that stands for. Hold on 1 second. Let me just Google it because it's important. HELCDC. Let me not get it wrong. Okay. The District of Columbia's Higher Education Licensure Commission. So I wrote the certification course, architected that entire program from back in the spring, which is May 2025 of this year. That program, that curriculum, that syllabus, that framework is approved by the District of Columbia's Higher Education Licensure Commission. The HELC license is incredibly difficult to get in DC, and any training academy or any postgraduate academy or school, is required to pass and to obtain the HELC license to operate in the District of Columbia. I formed BAI Group after I architected that AI program for the Vets Group. So while I cannot say that case is HELC certified or HELC approved, it's based on the certification program that I wrote and architected and delivered for the other organization this past spring that is approved by the DC Higher Education Licensure Commission. So if you have any questions, related to that, I'm happy to answer. And yeah, just wanted to point that out there. Okay, so who gets the most from the CASE Foundation certification? This program is for leaders in product, operations, strategy, DEI, consultants, and emerging AI practitioners in industries like nonprofits, higher education, healthcare, government adjacent, small businesses, and small, medium to large size enterprise organizations. So really, this is applicable to any and everyone all across the board. Yeah, and I think it's not only applicable, it's needed all across the board. Okay, and then if you're ready, next section is enrollment. So I already covered this at the beginning, but We offer a full refund through night 2 of the course. So doing this because, it's a really, I want to be sensitive to the time that we're in right now with the country, finances. I want to give everyone a chance to really consider whether or not co-intelligent AI is deemed in your eyes to be pivotal to invest in. And so I am open to, giving refunds through night 2. But the course fee includes any and everything that you need. So all recordings, build support, our artifact pack, and then your 20 to 24 continuing education hours. The individual seats is 400 or 4,500 at the regular rate. The team enrollment price is going to be for teams of 3+ that are enrolling at the same time. You will always get the discounted price of $3,800 to enroll your team at. And then the early bird price, which is in effect for about 8, maybe 6 or 7 more hours now. It's going to be over at midnight Pacific Standard Time. That early bird discount is $3,800. So make sure you enroll before midnight Pacific Time if you want to get the discount. And then I just wanted to highlight, hello, Amari. Come here. Shh. Come here. Okay, so throughout the course, you might come into contact, or you might be able to say hi to this little one. Say hi.
Hi.
This is.
I have the hiccup.
You have the hiccups. Yes, you do. You might be able to say hi. You might be able to see my little youth builder, Amari, here. Okay, my little youth coder. So he might pop in, maybe not. But here are some proven results just from my spring 2025 cohort. And I will let you look at those as you come to the site. Frequently asked questions. Do you need to know how to code? No. Okay, Mari, bye-bye. I'll be almost done. Okay, guys, I'm on live. Can one of y'all close my door, please? Okay. Sorry. Okay, so 15. Give me 15 from. All right, so do you need to know how to code? Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay, so do you need to know how to code? No. This program is designed for leaders to learn the decision architecture, and then builders can go deeper on the technical writing, but it's not a prerequisite. We also have a higher level, a more technical builder level certification for those that are interested in continuing on after our foundation certification, or for those that think they might be a little bit advanced and past the CASE certification right now. So is this course HELC approved? I've already kind of covered that. So CASE itself is not HELC approved. However, I am the creator and the architector of the only HELC approved AI certification course, which I piloted back in the spring. I am going to, that's another thing that's on, my million list of tasks to do for startups. So yeah, I'm working on that. But just wanted to point that out there in the spirit of transparency. Do we cover HIPAA or other compliance? So we teach HIPAA aligned patterns like role-based access control, logging, encryption, data retention. But the true compliance, honestly, will always depend on your specific implementation and environment. So the final question I have on here is, what is the compliance note about the NIST? So we have aligned our framework with the principles and standards that have been widely adopted by the NIST AI risk management framework, which is, and includes human oversight, transparency, risk management. This demonstrates that our methodology maps to federal standards, but it does not imply an official endorsement by the NIST yet. Working on that too. Okay, so here we reached the final part of the site. So you can use this button to enroll now. And here you can request a team invoice. I also have the option to book, should say 15-minute, but a 15-minute fit call to discuss the training itself, case training itself, and for organizations that are interested in bringing me and my team in to do a private customized case foundations certification training or workshop or leadership series or executive coaching. You can also book a call to discuss that as well. I also wanted to just show you our syllabus. Did it change? Hold on, let me change it. Okay, so here is our one-page syllabus. I'm not going to cover all this in detail because this is exactly what was on the site, a little bit more detailed night by night though. But just wanted to bring this into your attention. I will add this as a downloadable option to the site itself. But if you need the syllabus like ASAP, you have to have it like right now and let me know. I can DM or email it to you. Happy to do that as well. I also have a company reimbursement letter that includes justification for, professional development, justification for why, they might want to or why they should invest in the course on your behalf. So you can also request that as well. I'm trying to think anything else I need to cover. Okay, so additional information down here. Glad I brought this up. For our assessment, so you will be, in order for you to actually gain the Case Foundations strategist title and certification, you will have to pass a certification exam, which is going to be taken, delivered virtually, obviously, whole courses, but you will register and sign up for your specific exam course date, and you'll get a specific private link to do that once the course actually starts. And the first attempt of your exam is actually free and covered within your tuition. There will be a cost, I think, to retake the second attempt and future attempts. I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head yet, but I can provide you with that information if you need it. And then your agent will ensure that your agent passes our digital therapist test, and the deck is approved, which is all a part of your final certification. And then your final exam, the 75% or higher is required for certification. And then recertification will be required every 2 years by submitting an artifact update or documenting 20 hours of related practice that we will give you that specific outline for. Yeah, so I think that is it for me tonight. I am just looking at let me pull up my LinkedIn to see if I have any questions. If you have questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. As soon as I can find my window that has my LinkedIn live stream on. Okay, here we are. So I don't see any comments other than the couple that I got earlier. And then let me just check YouTube to see if I have any comments or questions. Okay, let me turn on mute. Close. Okay. Let's see. Do I have any comments? No comments there on YouTube either. All right. So just want to end. I will wrap up now. I'm almost been on here for an hour. Wow. Okay, so Case Foundation starts September 22nd. We'll build a DTT passing agent, exec deck, and audit-ready artifacts within 10 evenings of live nightly instruction from myself, the creator of the Co-Intelligence AI framework, as well as the creator of the Case Foundation certification, as well as the author and architect of the HELC approved AI course syllabus and framework from May of 2025. And also I will have other AI stakeholders who will be co-instructing with me along the nightly journey. And then I will have a group of business stakeholders to form our review board and judge the demos of your decks and your presentations of your pitch decks and your solutions. You can request a refund through night 2. And you can either enroll directly on the site for individuals, and then for teams, you can request a team invoice from the buttons on the website page. So with that said, let's ship the discipline and the ethos, not one or the other, and join me to build a co-intelligent AI future. Talk soon. Bye.